In this video, you're going to learn some alternative ideas about depression and anxiety. My name is Dr. Story. I've been a chiropractor for over 23 years, and I'm going to give you some advice that may be somewhat controversial, so I'm sure you'd like to leave your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know your opinions about this video. I've had a lot of experience in my time, and when I first started in practice, it was extremely uncommon for people to come in with anxiety medication and depression medication, and now it seems like every 20-year-old is on anxiety medication or some form of antidepressant. A lot of 40, 50-year-olds are on it. You don't see it a lot in older people, interestingly enough, but I'm going to give you an alternative idea, and this might be controversial, but I have had some patients that have found ways besides drugs and therapy to help themselves, and I'm just going to share that with you. And this is not something new, by the way. This has been written in books. This has got a lot of research behind it, but it takes work on your part. So here's the idea. Anxiety and depression cannot live in the brain at the same time you have fear and the survival mode. So what that means is, what I want you to do is to start thinking of, instead of trying to beat depression and trying to beat your anxiety, try to replace it with something else. So let's discuss fear first. My recommendation, and sometimes this is something that some people have done, is you just do something crazy, do something insane that's safe, of course. Sign up for a 5K. If you're out of shape, if you have pain everywhere, if you have anxiety all the time, you're already seeing someone for that, you're already been given medications, it's not working, you know what you do? You sign up for a 5K run in about a month or two. You know what you have to start doing? You have to start training. And so instead of having anxiety and depression all the time, now you've got this carrot in front of you, this very scary thing that you might fail. And the truth is, this is not a Disney Hallmark Channel. You might fail. In fact, it's likely that you're going to fail. So what do you got to do? You got to start training. So if you can only walk one time around the block, start doing that every day. Make it a goal. Make it something that's scary, that's impossible to do in your current situation. When you start signing up for things, you've got a deadline. Now you have to try to achieve that goal. This puts so much fear into your brain that now your brain doesn't have time for the depression and anxiety. So that's the idea behind doing it. Start signing up for things that would scare you. Next, here's what you're going to do. You're going to have to start thinking in terms of survival. And what that means is, when you're in a situation where you have to try to survive, let's say drowning, or trying to camp without food, trying to start a fire, doing things like that are just things we take for granted. What ends up happening is you don't have time for depression. You don't have time to find yourself. You've either got to survive or die. Now, this comes from a book that I thought was a very interesting read. Now, I know many people who are watching this are probably not ultra marathoners, but this guy, Dean Karnazes, had a great book. This was his first book, Ultra Marathon Man. And what he did was he kind of talked about how, the story about how when he was about 30 years old, he was celebrating his 30th birthday. He was making tons of money as some type of banker or something like that. He was successful, quote unquote. It's kind of the typical story. He had tons of money, but he was fat and he was drunk, and he just realized that he wasn't happy anymore. He was going through some depression, and he started running, and that was the beginning of his next career. And he said something in the book that I thought was really fascinating. He said, "We have designed our life to be so comfortable. We have ergonomic chairs, we have comfortable shoes, we have orthotics, we have padding in different places. We set up our computers so there's padding on our wrists, padding on our elbows. We have lazy boys," which is kind of a funny word when you consider that maybe they shouldn't have called it that, but everybody knows what a lazy boy is. It's just a super comfortable chair that you can sit in. and just relax. We have comfortable couches. We have beds that have numbers on them that you can customize it to be comfortable. And he said something that was fascinating. He said, we have designed our life to be so comfortable that we've ended up being miserable. And his solution to this was start becoming miserable. Kind of a fascinating idea. In other words, start running, start hurting. Sometimes when you put your body through pain, you can find that there's no room for depression and anxiety. I find this personally when I ride my bicycle or do some type of workout. When you work out so hard, like you do some Tabata exercises, which if I remember, I'll try to put a link down below. If I forgot, let me know and I'll put that link down. And if you do Tabata exercises, you either try to do push-ups or jumping jacks, or you do squats, which is, I like to do squats with the Tabata method, you have no time. Your brain has no time for depression and anxiety, because now you're fearing for your life and you're on survival mode. Another idea, just throwing it out there, is if you've ever been camping, why don't you go camping? Go without food and go to the campsite, and just bring a sleeping bag, but don't bring a tent, don't bring any supplies to start a fire. Quite frankly, see if you can start a fire and stay warm. Maybe it would be okay if you were super cold at night and sleeping under the stars and didn't have shelter and kind of was a little afraid, would an animal come at night and get you? You know what? When you're in that survival mode, your brain starts thinking, I've got to live. There's no time for depression and anxiety when that happens. So this is the advice that I have. And I'm not saying to go and stop taking your medications, and I'm not saying don't stop therapy. And you can talk to the therapist about your past and what bothers you and all that stuff. But you know what? A lot of people have helped themselves deal with depression and anxiety by replacing those emotions with fear and survival mode. And you know what? I've had quite a bit of patients that have done this. I'm going to say 9 out of 10 have not, or actually 99 out of 100 have not. But if someone's willing to try that, this is an idea. Let me know again what your comments are on this subject. Let me know in the comment section below. If you thought this was a good video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Hit the subscribe button and share this on social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I greatly appreciate it. Hope this helps you.